are the Cenobites.
Well,
So
this sounds like fan fiction. Is it fan fiction? Or?
It does sound like fan fiction, but it's not. It's an actual published book, and so like right now, right now it's well done. It's the mystery is Frank Cotton from the first Hellraiser movie, but Frank Cotton disappears. Yeah, Francis Cotton disappears from this locked room, and his brother Lawrence and his wife come to Sherlock Holmes and Watson to try and figure out why Francis disappeared, and they can't figure it out. But then another person disappears under similar circumstances, and it's the characters in it, and it's really well done because, like you said, it sounds like fan fiction. Because the next person that disappears is the name is whatever Pinhead's real name was before he became a Cenobite, Stuart something or other. And then a third person disappears, and that's somebody from Hellraiser 3, J.P. Monroe. And so it's Sherlock Holmes, and I'm still really early on. I'm only on page 75, but he's trying to solve all these locked room disappearances. But obviously the locked room disappearances, what's going to come down the line is they're all disappearing because they're solving the lament configuration and being taken away by the Cenobites.
Yeah. Open sort of a different dimension. Pleasure. And
it's like I'm in love with it.
Oh, that's amazing. So it's Sherlock Holmes and what's it called? Sherlock Holmes and the what?
Sherlock Holmes and the Servant of Hell.
That's amazing. That sounds amazing. I'm such a big fan of Hellraiser. Anyway, listen, we're live. This is Dark Festive Delights, where we talk about Halloween. And
Christmas. Is my.
Sorry,
I'm getting my.
Oh,
that's my dark chocolate coconut.
Oh, yeah. I've got no.
It looks like a turd though. It doesn't look like a pumpkin. I mean, it looks like a pumpkin, but
yeah, it does look a bit sort of shit like. But I bet it doesn't taste like that. I've got no candy in
delicious.
Here. This week we've been going through like Halloween cakes, random cakes. A company in this country called Mr. Kipling. They do all these different cakes. So there was like these like sponge like fingers, not fingers, but like cake fingers. And they were lemon and slime. And then there was what else?
Nice.
These little toffee swirl things, which were spooky Halloween. I can't remember what they were called, but they're fucking amazing. It was like, this is so nice. So yeah, we've just been eating a lot, which is good. So tonight we're going to talk about movies, and you were just talking about Hellraiser, and that's one of my fave movies. I've done a little list of my favorite.
I love Hellraiser. I got
time of year, but I forgot to put Hellraiser on it, and you just reminded me. So yeah, it's great. And I need to watch Hellraiser 3 again because it come up on the Coffee Jelly Hour. What are you saying? No,
you don't. It's terrible.
Well, you know what? It was
terrible.
It was Ace, wasn't it? Who was saying, "Oh no, it's okay. You should watch it again." I'm thinking, really? I remember watching it years ago, and it was shit.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
once they get really bad really fast.
I know after 3, there's a major drop off. I've got like a box set which I picked up when I was in America probably in Walmart, and it was probably $5. And there's Hellraiser probably 4, 5, 6, whatever they're called. They're called all weird names, and I've got them all.
They're up to 8, yeah.
Oh geez, and I kind of put them on in the background, and there's the odd scene where it's like, wow, this looks great, and the rest of it just sucked, kind of thing. But Hellraiser's good. Hellraiser's good. Tell you what, we've literally just finished watching before we started recording this. The House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price, 1959, creaky black and white movie. It's great.
I feel like I own that one, but I don't. I own this big, thick box set of like.
I'm not 50
horror movies.
Holy shit! You know what? It's probably the same one. We've got the same one. It's the double-sided.
It might be,
double-sided, and there's 2 movies side. Oh shit!
Yep.
You know what?
It's got like all the Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. The Bat is on there. The Last Man on Earth is on there. Holy shit!
There's some really bad ones, like the giant Gila monster.
Yes, yeah. That is the one. In fact, I picked that up in America years ago when the Virgin Megastore was in Orlando in downtown Disney.
Oh, so you have
So that's where I picked it up.
You have you have a region 1 player then. You don't have a
Well,
region
no,
2
actually, you know what? It's region free. That one's region free. Strangely enough. Well, all the discs are region free. So that's what. Yeah, we literally dug that box out before. We're like, okay, went through the. Okay, which one should we watch? Vincent Price, House on Haunted Hill. Anything with Vincent Price is great, kind of thing. It's just a creaky, spooky movie, which I love it. So I've just watched that, and I was like, yes, this
I also always
go on, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I also always watch the old, even though a lot of them are slow by modern pacing, but I always watch the old Universal ones: Dracula, Frankenstein,
the Mummy,
Wolfman.
Mummy.
I don't like the Mummy. The Mummy is the one I really don't like.
It stands out for being quite different than the rest. We to be honest, we watched Dracula. It's 1932, isn't it? I think we watched that the other day. We got Frankenstein. But it's class. I am Dracula. Yeah, it's so good. So I mean, they're good. As you say, the slow pace, but the atmosphere, just amazing. Really. And I tell you what I love as well. Hammer horror, all the Hammer movies as well. I just love the atmosphere of those.
I have most of their Dracula films with Christopher Lee.
Yeah, he's class. He was class.
I don't think beyond those Christopher Lee Dracula movies I've ever seen him. Like I've never seen. I don't think I have.
There's some good Frankenstein ones. The Mummy, Hammer's the Mummy. What else is there? There's so many, and I own some of them, and I need to get the rest. I just love it's those movies you can put in the background.
Actually, wasn't it Hammer that started doing like the semi-erotic vampire films towards the end of Hammer's? So I've seen a few of those, like the Lady Vampire and a couple. They're really cheesy.
Yeah, To the Devil a Daughter is one of them, I think. There's loads.
Something like that. They're basically just TNA movies.
They're basically like hot sort of Playboy models from the 60s or something like that, isn't it? Kind of thing, or pin-up girls, and like the class, the fun kind of thing. But Christopher Lee as Dracula. It's just class. He's so good. In fact, when I was a kid, I used to get these trading cards, Hammer Horror trading cards, and they come with like sort of chewing gum. And I've still got them. I don't think I've got them in the studio, actually. I can't remember where they are. I saw them the other month, going through them, and they've just got stills from all the Hammer Horror movies, and it's great. And on the back, it's so bizarre. On the back, it's got these like really cheesy jokes for some reason, and I remember them was like one of them was like Mum, can I lick the bowl? And it's like, no, flush the toilet like any normal person, stuff like that. And it was just God. What the fuck? And it was so bizarre. I must, you know what? On another episode, I must dig them out and just go through some of the jokes, because it was kind of like
totally.
I'm just kind of googling the Hammer Horror now, and there's the close up of Christopher Lee in Dracula with the red eyes and the fangs. So I've got these cards, and it's got him on the front, and it's like, that is terrifying. Turn it over to the back, and it's a cheesy joke. I was like, but I didn't quite understand. I loved it as a kid, but now I'm just puzzled by these cards. But they were so good. I need to dig them out.
Trying to tone down the trauma.
I think that's what it was. It's for kids, so we put something funny on the back. We kind of do that. We kind of do that. But Hammer Horror is good. So what other movies do you like to watch in October? Have you got like a selection?
Oh man, this year I thought I would try to watch ones I never have seen before, but then I realized most of the ones I've never seen before, like I start to watch them, or I even just look at like the cover art or the display art, and I'm like, boy, these are shit looking movies.
There's some crap. There's some crap on Netflix where I'm like, I'm gonna watch this. Like, we put 2 on the other night. I can't even remember what they were, and I was like, let's try this one. It was like 10 minutes. Like, all right, let's try this one. And we are really struggling. I think then we put Universal's Dracula.
So I end up like, I watch all the Halloween films.
Right. Okay.
Even though most of them are not like great, I watch.
That's a lot of movies.
That's
when you say all of them, that is a lot.
Well, I never make it anymore. Like I used to before I had a job and was a person. But I try to watch the good ones, and like Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, the Dream Warriors, couple of the Friday the 13th movies. I own all these movies that I just am like, even the ones I don't like I have all the Friday the 13th movies, and most of them are garbage. Like, I don't want to watch Jason Takes Manhattan ever again.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Is it Jason versus Freddy or Freddy versus Jason and stuff
that
like
one's
that?
That one's better than Jason Takes Manhattan.
Isn't it? Well, isn't it Jason in Space as well? Isn't it Jason
That one's better than Jason Takes Manhattan.
Jeez, really?
And it's actually and it's actually better than Jason Takes Manhattan's really bad, and so is Jason Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to Hell is really.
I've never seen them. I've probably seen.
Oh God, I got to tell you the Jason Goes to Hell one. You've got to hear this. This is great. It turns out that the reason Jason can keep coming back to life, is that Jason isn't like a living human. He's not like a human thing. He's like this black slug monster thing can so in the movie he crawls out of Jason's body, and basically Jason starts possessing, like as soon as the body dies, this little slug thing crawls out and goes into it's
like a parasite.
It's a horrible fucking movie. I hate it so much. And everybody shits on Jason X, which is the Jason Goes to Space one, but once you get past the idea that he goes to like, the reason they send him to space is like, we have at the beginning of the movie, he's locked in like a government laboratory, and they can't figure out what to do with him. They can't figure out why he keeps coming back to life. They can't figure out how to keep him dead, and they can't figure out how to keep him safely locked up. So the conceit is, we'll just shoot him into space. That's the only. And then once you get past that, it is Jason on a spaceship killing pretty people. But it's basically a Friday the 13th movie on a spaceship, and it's not that bad compared to, like I said, compared to Jason Goes Jason Goes to Hell and Jason Takes Manhattan are really bad.
I want to watch those two movies just because they're really bad. I don't know.
You're going to have to. Now you got to.
I'm going to have to. Yeah, I've only seen a couple of Friday the 13th movies. Holy shit, it's Friday the 13th tomorrow. I just realized it's I'm
probably going to watch Friday the 13th tomorrow. Probably the original one.
So thinking about if there's one movie you want to watch every Halloween, I'll tell you what mine is. It's The Shining. I've got to watch that every Halloween. I love the atmosphere. I love the acting. I love the setting. I love abandoned places. So it's an empty hotel where there was so much life and now there's nothing. And you tend to watch that every single year because that is it's one of my fave films.
I'm with Stephen King in that I don't like the movie version of The Shining.
The book's good.
It's weird. Nothing against Jack Nicholson, but Jack Nicholson is exactly the person you expect to flip out and go. There's never a point in the movie where you're right from the beginning. There's never a point where you're on his side and where it's tragic that he becomes this person.
It kind of sets it up really early that he's like a hard drinker. And
well, in the book he's a hard drinker and everything. In the book he's also trying to be a better person, and you never get the sense that Jack Nicholson has ever become a better person. Is like trying to make up for.
It's true.
So there's that part, and then there's the part of, boy, Shelley Duvall in that movie just annoys me so much.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen the making of The Shining?
And no, I know there's a really great documentary.
Holy crap. The way she was treated by Stanley Kubrick.
I do know that Stanley Kubrick treated her terribly.
He was just a bastard to her just to get those emotions out of her, and he got what he wanted. And he went
the Hitchcock route.
Oh it was just full
Hitchcock tortured that woman from The Birds.
Oh yeah. Oh geez.
Who was it? There's an actor. Oh, there's an actor. It might be Billy Mumy, who was from Lost in Space.
Yeah.
I could have this wrong.
Go on.
But it was in one of Hitchcock's movies, and the kid couldn't stay on his mark because he was a little kid and he was fidgety.
Right.
And Hitchcock walked right up to him and dead serious said, young man, if you can't stay on your mark, I'm going to nail your feet to the floor. And then turned around and walked away from him. Like he went over and just terrified this kid into staying into space.
Yeah, it probably was. I'm just Googling now. I think it probably was. You're probably right, actually.
It was Billy Mooney who told that story, where he said he was so terrified by Hitchcock coming over, looming over him, and with no hint that he was in any way not serious, said, "I'm going to nail your feet to the floor."
That is class. But it's like The Exorcist, the very end scene on the steps, and didn't the director? He was trying to get the right emotion from, was it one of the priests?
Again, there's a new podcast about the making of The Exorcist.
Really?
Shit, what's it called?
And
I want to listen to it.
And basically, didn't they do so many takes? And it's like, no, you're not upset enough. You're not crying. You're not. And then eventually,
maybe I can't remember. Yeah,
I think the director basically said to the actor, do you trust me? And he's kind of like, yeah. And then the director just slapped him across the face and called action. And he's like totally shaken up. And yeah, it's like, there it is.
The tragedy of The Exorcist to me is I've read the book and I've seen the movie. Yeah, and both the book and the movie they really go like the whole route of in the beginning trying to make it seem like maybe it's not real demonic possession. Right. She goes for the psychological tests and everything.
That's right. Yeah.
And then it turns out it is demonic possession. And when it gets to that point, I'm like, I'm almost not interested anymore, because boy, this would be a much more terrifying story if this girl was really just seriously mentally ill.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. Yeah,
it'd be so much more scary on a much more real life level. Because that's what real life possession is seriously mentally ill
mental
people.
Illness, and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, you look back in history, and it's kind of like all these people. Oh yeah, they were possessed, and it's like no, they were mentally ill. But no, you're right. It's kind of like a bit of a cop out. Because partway through the movie, it's like, oh yeah, it's a real demon.
Yeah, she's really possessed. Yeah,
it explains it away, and it's like, nah. I
don't lose interest. It is still, great but it's almost like one of those things where I'm like, oh, that kind of let me down.
Yeah, it's like, oh, is that it? Yeah, is that? But the thing I remember, I mean, I don't know how many years ago it was, but I remember it. The Exorcist was re-released and it come onto the cinema, and I remember going to see it. I'd seen it at home, went to see it on the cinema, and this was years ago. And I remember thinking, geez, it's still a scary movie. And then years after that, God, it might be, when was the last time I saw it? I might have seen it on the cinema again, maybe 5 years. It might have been 10 years ago. And the last time I saw it on the cinema, and I was thinking, oh yeah, it's terrifying. Watched it, I was like, wow, it's actually laughable in parts because of the special effects. Yeah, so dated now.
I have both versions. I have the theatrical version, and then I have the director's cut where they put back in the contortionist who crab walks backwards down the stairs.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that one. I don't know if that's
really bizarre.
There's stuff like that which is like really freaky, and then there's like weird when sort of the priest's in the room, whether there's images of I don't know, like bleak wastelands and deserts and stuff like that, which are like superimposed, and it's like that stuff like that just like freaked me out. It's like that's so weird and bizarre, and I kind of liked all that. But then watching the head spin round now, it's like, wow, that's fucking dated now, doesn't it? And it kind of spoils it for me. So going back, so if there's one movie you've got to watch this Halloween, what would it be? Do you think? Have you got
Halloween?
Is that it? The original? The original? The original? Yeah.
The original John Carpenter's, huh?
Well, mine's probably The Shining, but then another one which we started watching kind of religiously every year, a few years back, was Trick or Treat, which I absolutely love.
Never seen that one yet.
Oh, geez. Seriously, just watch it. It's just a class anthology movie. With, I mean, I don't even know how many different stories is in there, but each story is intertwined and they cross over in a way that you'll watch it once.
Okay.
You'll pick a few things out, and then you watch it a second time, you'll pick more things out. You're like, it's clever, but it's entertaining, and it's got such a great vibe and the good story. So
I'll have to check it out.
That's on our list. I mean, to be honest, I kind of like the found footage, caught on camera type things. I mean, I know it's gone a bit too far with like Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
But there's, I don't know if you've seen them. There's Grave Encounters 1 and 2, which are they're just supposedly they're like a documentary film crew who go out. It's supposed to be like I think it's a weekly TV show. They go out and they stay over in supposedly haunted places. So Grave Encounters 1, they stay in this abandoned asylum somewhere in America. I don't even know where it is. It might be Canada. I haven't got a clue. I should know this. And somewhere. And then they basically get locked in there at night, and they're like, right, whatever happens, say to the caretaker, don't let us out, blah blah blah. And it starts off, it's like, it's a bit spooky, and then maybe a third of the way through, it just fucking ramps up. It's like, holy shit. And it is amazing. Nice. And it supposedly sort of found footage, just stuff that's caught on camera, and there's some really nice sort of scares and stuff. And the second Grave Encounters is just as good. It's still just as freaky. And so, I mean, that's one of the ones I do love. I like that series. And then REC. Have you seen REC? REC, the Spanish.
No.
Fucking hell. Well, Hollywood remade it as Quarantine a few years ago, which is okay. But the original Spanish one, again, that's supposed to be like a documentary film crew who follow around people who work night shift. So one night they're following around emergency. I think it's a fire crew, and they get called to an apartment block in the middle of the night somewhere in Spain, and they don't know what it is, but there's some strange outbreak, and people start turning into these weird creatures, and they get locked in the building, and it's all supposedly from documentary sort of footage, and it's freaky, and the end of it, I was just like, when it went off, I was like, holy shit! It's one of those movies, both Grave Encounters and REC. There's stuff in those movies where it's kind of like, wow, it was like what I've just seen. I'm not going to spoil what these things are. It's like it was real. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, it's one of them. And
that's kind of how that's kind of how Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of strikes me, even though it's not a found footage film necessarily. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre just has this home movie quality that is that's part of the because in the movie itself there isn't, like, even though it's got this reputation of being this really bloody film, there isn't really a lot of blood and guts in this film. It's just a disturbing as hell film. I think it is. Yeah, well, I haven't seen it.
I'm going to watch it again.
Watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it again. I was listening to a podcast about Toby Hooper today, actually, and obviously they talked about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 and 2 and stuff like that, but they actually played on the podcast, they played like the opening scene, the audio from the opening scene, and the sound effects, the actual soundtrack. It's that grating, horrible, I don't even know what it is, but it just puts you on edge so much. So it's coupled with that opening scene with those sound effects. And aren't they digging us something at the very beginning as it sort of comes in kind of thing?
I think so. Yeah.
Doesn't it say it's based on a true story? And it's like the quality of the film. It looks gritty. It's so
grainy.
Good.
It is. It's great.
It does put you on edge so much. And you're right.
I like I actually like the remake. It's one of the better horror remakes, but it is more polished, more Hollywood.
I can imagine.
So it doesn't have quite the same feel. It's still a good movie. I still like the remake, but I like the original more because it's got that feeling of just being like this really like snuff film almost.
It is. It's like it is that feeling you get from the supposed like sort of found footages and stuff like that. You're watching something which is like, holy shit, this is real. It's gritty. I mean, the part where Leatherface picks her up and puts her on the hook, you don't see anything, but you can see it and feel it because it is just so so brutal and real. I just love it. I love it. So just talking about that remake, are there any other horror remakes that you kind of like that you would watch this time of year? Or because let me tell you one that I probably won't go back and watch. Yeah. Well, Dawn of the Dead.
I was gonna say Dawn of the Dead.
I was completely against remakes, especially of like classic sort of horror movies that I liked. And Dawn of the Dead came along, and a couple of friends were like, "You've got to watch it." I was like, watched it, and I was like, "I really like this movie." So I kind of.
I'm gonna say something a lot of people might not like, but I think I like the remake of Dawn of the Dead better than the original Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. You know what?
The original Dawn of the Dead is a really great, really classic movie, and I get that it's almost a satire film.
Yeah, it is.
But towards the end, boy, does part of that ending part where the zombies actually get into the mall.
That's right.
It gets real clownish and cartoony for a little bit. And I don't.
It's kind of like, this is weird,
The remake of the Dawn of the Dead, and a lot of people don't like running zombies. I don't necessarily mind the running zombies
I like
as
them.
much.
I like them. They're more of a threat. You know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, you can't get away from them now. I kind of like that. And
my part is like, as long as they're a freshly dead, I get like shambling zombies if they're past a certain point of decay, but like that freshly dead zombie, it makes sense to me that thing is jumping back up and running.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a decent remake. I know there's some bad remakes.
A lot of people. Well, I think a lot of the remakes I like. A lot of horror fans would like. I like the remake from 2009 of Friday the 13th. I thought the remake of Friday the 13th was pretty good.
I haven't seen that one actually.
I also liked Rob Zombie's first Halloween, which I know a lot of people don't like Rob Zombie's first.
I enjoyed it.
One was shit, but
I don't know. I didn't mind it. It wasn't as good as the first one, but I was kind of like, that's okay.
I think it's okay. I think it went too weird with like Michael's ghost mom and
it's
hobo Michael with like no mask, just like a big hobo with a beard. And
it's a bit weird. But the first one, I kind of enjoyed it. I went to see it. I was like, this is decent, and loads of people liked it off, and I was like, but no, I do like it.
Yeah.
I tell you what I watched the other day. I just remembered randomly, and I just saw it on Netflix. I was like, I'm going to watch this, The Return of the Living Dead. It's just a random.
Never saw that one.
Dan O'Bannon, just randomly where the whoops.
Well, you know what happened. Do you know the story of Return of the Living Dead?
No, what was that? Go on.
All right. So there was Night of the Living Dead. It was George A. Romero, and he had a partner. I can't remember the partner's name exactly. And I could Google it, but it would take too much time. But basically, these two guys had a falling out because they thought that these zombie movies should go different way, and that's why you notice it's Night of the Living Dead, and then it's Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, right,
Diary, all dead, because Romero got to keep Of the Dead, and this other guy got to keep Living Dead.
All right,
so that's why there's this split where there's Night of the Living Dead, but then there's Return of the Living Dead, and it's all the dead movies.
Got it.
Because this other guy got to keep the term Living Dead.
Yeah, got it. Oh, that makes sense. I didn't realize. But I mean, to be honest, the Return of the Living Dead.
So all those movies.
Go on.
That's a sequel to Night of the Living Dead.
Right. Yeah. But it was fun. It was one of them. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about this, and this is really, really good. And it was just a silly, fun sort of movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I heard those because there was like Return of the Living Dead and a whole bunch of other things. I heard they got pretty silly, almost like comedy horror.
Yeah. But there's some really good scenes, and some good gore, and it's, I think it's the first. Is it the first zombie movie where the zombies do actually sort of call out for brains? Basically,
yes, that's where that came. That's where that came from.
I think it was this one kind of thing. It was like, that was But that's worth watching. That was fun.
Speaking of real cheesy special effects, real quick, did you ever see Reanimator?
Oh yeah. I do. I like
that movie. I like it, but boy, it doesn't hold up from a visual. There's like a really bad fake cat in that movie.
Oh, yeah, like, he kills the cat who reanimates it, and there's so many bad. There is so many bad things watching it now. I remember the first time I watched it, and it was maybe back. Was it in the 90s? I can't remember. I remember thinking this is awesome, and then unfortunately you watch it 10 years after that or more, and you're like, oh right, I still like it.
It's like the other night when I watched Pet Sematary.
Oh God, what was it? How did it hold up?
And it's fine. It's fine, except for when there are some scenes where he fights his father, and it is the most unbelievable child. I mean, it is a guy wrestling with us. It's hilarious.
Wow. It's painful.
It's a guy, because obviously you're not going to have this guy throwing around a real child. Throw around this man, and it's pain. I was like, oh my.
It just looks so awful now, kind of thing. Yeah, I remember seeing that movie when it first came out, and it was like, wow, this is like really mad, and it's good, and it's obviously like a quite, it was scary at the time. It's like, oh my God, the kids come back from the dead and stuff like that.
Well, in the end, it's still really messed up because he kills the kid.
That's right.
The kid killed his wife, but the kid killed his wife, and so he goes to bury his wife in the pet cemetery because he's she's dead. She only just died, so it won't be as bad when
she's gonna be all right. Yeah, she's not gonna be that. Gonna be all right.
And then she comes back and she kills him.
That's class. That's that. Yeah, it's quite a good one. Yeah, it was a good movie, but as you say, horribly dated. Before we go, what do you think is your most scary movie to watch? Have you got one? I mean, I struggle to find scary. I really struggle.
Me too.
Really struggle. It's a difficult. I tell you one I watched years ago. And it's a David Lynch short called The Grandmother, and it's basically about some guy who tries to grow a grandmother from a seed. And in typical David Lynch style, I think it's only 30 odd minutes. I watched it. It was on late night TV here in the UK, probably on Channel 4. And I was kind of suffering from lack of sleep on that day, and I was like, I'm going to watch this. And I think his imagery and the soundtrack, I think there's a lot of weird industrial sounds and stuff in it, and my lack of sleep completely freaked me out. I mean, I'd probably watch it now and think it's not that scary, but I remember being terrified by it. That was just because there's some weird animations in there.
Because I guess not scary, but the most uncomfortable I've ever been watching a movie. It wasn't even a horror film. I was watching Adam Rifkin's Look.
Oh,
have you ever seen Look?
I've seen it. It's an amazing film, amazing
idea. So you're gonna know what I'm talking about because if you know the story of Look, there's a scene at the end of Look where a little girl gets abducted.
Oh my God! In the
food court in the shopping mall, and says, "I'm a friend of your mom's. Do you want to come with me?"
That is,
and the story. And I suppose I wouldn't have been so uncomfortable if I didn't know that what happened with this movie was it was shot in a real food court, and there were 3 actors in the whole food court.
Everyone else
was the little girl, the mom, and the kid, the guy that abducted the girl.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this movie knowing this.
Yeah.
And there's this woman going around very convincingly missing her child.
Have you seen my child? Yeah.
And nobody, the people sitting at the next table couldn't tell her a man came in. They just, because they didn't notice. And I'm watching this whole thing going, I am incredibly uncomfortable. And so I think if you want to talk about scared, like that's the most scared I've ever been watching a movie, because I'm like, these are real people who surrounded this girl who got taken away, and no one
saw it. No one stood up.
No one had any idea that this girl was taken.
That's terrifying.
Horrified me.
But you're right.
Horrified me.
You're right, because
so deeply.
I read about it before I watched the movie, and I was in the same position where it's like you watch the movie, and I mean, there's other scenes in that movie which are kind of awkward, Like the guy masturbating and, you know,
in his office, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like these are all actors. And then it gets up to the very end and that happens. And like you said, I knew exactly that. I'm looking around.
If you had never heard an interview with Adam Rifkin or ever read about that this happened, it would be fine. But knowing that about this movie, my skin was like crawling.
You're right, you know, because when that scene come on, because I think all the way through the movie, I was not looking forward to that scene because I knew about that scene. And when it come on, I was looking around thinking, they're not in on it. They're not in on it. They're not in it. And then it all happens, and it's like no one said anything, and no one's seen anything. It's like that is unbelievable, and it's like that's how it happens. Terrible.
Exactly. That's exactly like
that is terrifying. Yeah, that is.
I've watched so much horror for so long that I'm like, you know, immune to.
You do. You get numb to it, really, don't you? Yeah.
So to have that go on, I'm like, that's a horror movie. There you go. There's your horror movie.
Yeah, that's right true. That's real life horror. I mean, I want to watch that movie again, you know, just to make me feel really awkward.
I know.
I might turn it off.
It's a great movie. God. It's a great movie. If nobody out there has ever seen it, it's shot all from the perspective of
CCTV
security cameras.
Yeah, amazing. So, it's so good, and I'm guessing a lot of the acting there is sort of just ad-libbed, and they've just got in and
something
just
like that,
improved it, because it looks, everything looks and feels so natural, really, doesn't it? So I think we end it there now. That's I'm gonna have nightmares of that.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Although when you said that was all that came to mind. Like I couldn't think of another movie. I couldn't think of another movie. I guess brilliant. When I was younger, like I remember seeing Event Horizon and being a little scared of Event Horizon when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know, I've been watching, like I said, I've been watching horror for so much of my life. Like I just can't.
Yeah, you want something new to scare you, and it's difficult, and you know most things that come along are the same, and it's only once in a while something will come along which will make you think and freak you out and give you nightmares, kind of thing. It's true. Listen, before we go, I was going to say we didn't show our t-shirts.
Oh no, I can show mine.
I want to see yours.
I got my Stranger Things t-shirt. It's got the poster of That is great.
My
wife got me that shirt last Christmas, right after Stranger Things had come out for the. Oh, it's coming back in like 2 weeks.
It is 2 weeks. I can't wait. It's on Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix.
So excited.
So I'm trying to clear everything out of the way, so I've got nothing else to watch. So watch that. So is it all coming out in one go, or is it?
Yep, it is. Yeah, so all one go.
You can binge it, but I'm probably not going to binge it because once it's gone,
I probably can't because I got to wait. I got to wait for my wife to get home every night. Well, otherwise.
I'm watching it with the missus, so it's kind of like it's fine.
Otherwise,
I can
mine
watch
would
it.
be gone like bang.
I know that's the problem. It's like I'm gonna spend the night watching it, but no, I'm not anyway. So listen, let's end it there. If you're watching, hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe, join us again next week.
All that good stuff. Yeah,
there'll be more Halloween talk next week. So
there will.
Until next week, take it easy. See you soon, Matt.
Happy Halloween, everybody. See you soon.
Happy Halloween. Bye.